Hey there, it's BitB, and welcome out to another BitB stream. Thanks for coming out. It is currently Saturday, and we're going to dive back into some Justice of Spirits. Anyways, so, we left the court the last time. I'm actually trying to remember what the heck happened. Shoot. But anyway, let's just dive in. I'm sure that everything will make sense once we just, like, dive directly headfirst into the nonsense. Which tends to be how I do things anyways. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I don't know, I have been a busy bee. I've been doing a lot of random crap. Okay, Smokey, move over to the game tab. There we go. Alright. Oh, and also I need to bring up the game for myself so I can see it. Alright. September 23rd, District Court. Defendant Lobby, number 3. And also I need to find my stylus. There it is. Let me raise up the microphone so that I'm talking more directly into it. Now I'll have to face Pierce on the stand. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not. I'm not. This guy has seemed seedy for the entire time. Funny stuff is stressed because your family might be coming soon. Oh dear. I hope they're at least slightly pleasant to be around. I don't know. My family seems to be hit or miss, depending on the relative. Ooh, Fluffy is showing off the DJ grooves that's currently in production. For Fluffy, I should say. Not like in mass or anything. But good lord, wouldn't it be nice if they were. Anyways, one thing's for sure, he won't be an easy adversary. So, do you think Pierce did it? It's too early to say anything at this point, but I do think he's still hiding something. Nick! Oh god, this immediately. Why didn't you pin everything on Soren Loser back there? Looks like Larry still hasn't given up on Ellen. If this Pierce guy is the real bad guy, then Soren and my Ellie will live happily ever after together, negative. Larry, that's not the kind of thing a decent human being says. Shame on you, Larry! Pierce? Animal Crossing crossover? Oh, jeez. I don't know. What character is Pierce? I've seen some Let's Plays, and God help me, I don't remember any of the characters. I know Scoot, but that's just because, you know, a duck-loving streamer happens to really like Scoot. Aw, boo-hoo! You think I don't know? I don't know. I don't have to... Wait, I have to give up on my Ellie. But Nick, promise you'll make her happy. She deserves a happily ever after. I'm sure Soren will make her happy once all of this is said and done. The butler, not the eagle. Ah, okay, I see. The trial's about to resume, Mr. Wright. Alright, you ready, Maya? Yep, let's go. I'll be rooting for you, Nick. Get out of here, scumbag. Again, how you have not been incarcerated in somewhere permanently, God, I don't know. All right, September 23rd, District Court. Courtroom number 6. Hey, Stuffy Balls! Did you just call me Stuffy Balls? This court is now back in session. I'm gonna change up my posture just so I can voice a little bit better here. Witness, please take the stand. Butler. Please state your name and occupation. Sorry, I was pressing the wrong button there. Okay, Jesus. Sorry, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things here. My name is Pierce Nick... Oh, excuse me. Throat sore. I am the Sprocket family butler. Let's get straight to the point, Mr. Nickety. Someone tore out a page of Mr. Sprocket's notebook to manipulate his memories. And that person was you, wasn't it? That is correct. What about it? Oh, Jesus. He's straightforward on that. Well, that was easy. So, why did you do it? Why did you tamper with Mr. Sprocket's notebook? Please, allow me to explain. It pains me to do this, but I will tell you the truth. Oh, hello. Fluffy the Squirrel gifted a tier 1 sub to Funny Stuff. Oh, thank you very much, Fluffy. You didn't need to do that. But on the positive note, now people have gotten some emotes. Some Valentine's emotes. By the way, happy early Valentine's Day, folks. When is Okay, I know it's the 14th, but what specific day of the... Friday. So I guess we might be celebrating Valentine's Day on the 12th. Considering I'm streaming on the 12th. What the heck kind of game should I play for Valentine's Day, by the way? A lot of times I tend to play a Valentine's-related thing, but sometimes I just shrug and go, whatever. Right. It pains you? Rosa says, who's your Valentine, Bit? That would imply that I have any kind of relationship. And that is not the case.
That is correct. For my testimony will go against Master Soren's wishes.
Soren's wishes? What is he talking about? His Valentine is Snatcher confirmed.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why I tore out the page.
I rushed to the vista deck, but the crime had already been committed. I saw Miss Ellen in Bloomsbury collapsed, and Master Soren writing in his notebook. Master Soren said to me, I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen. But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook and hid the body.
Silver says, your Valentine can be your friends too. That's very true. I mentioned this in the Discord chat, and I seriously meant it when I said it. Just as a refresher, I pinned it, just because I felt that was an important thing. Actually, no, I didn't pin it now that I think about it. I mentioned it in the Discord chat, and as well as several other people. You don't necessarily need to be in any kind of relationship. Like, do not be pressured to be with anybody. Like, nobody has to. You do you, and enjoy yourself. Like, if you don't have anybody to be with, then, hey. Oh, whoopsies, no signal. Give me a second. If you got nobody to be with, then by all means, just do something for self-love. Do something that makes you happy. There we go. Back to normal. Wait a second. What Mr. Sprocket was writing in his notebook at the time, could it be? Yes, exactly, dude. It was meant to be a confession, an admission he'd killed Gloomsbury himself. Again, what a righteous little kid there. I don't know. He wrote that message to take the blame for Miss Wyatt?
That is correct. Master Soren did hit Gloomsbury with the timekeeper to save Miss Ellen.
Then Mr. Sprocket was the culprit after all?
However, that blow did not kill Gloomsbury.
That makes sense. Mr. Sprocket's injury wouldn't allow him to put much force into it. I think I need to raise the volume on my own ears. Yay for having an easier way to do it now.
Enraged, Gloomsbury tried to attack Master Soren, who was already seriously wounded. But just in the nick of time, Miss Ellen hit Gloomsbury from behind. And finished him off, it would seem.
So the one who inflicted the fatal blow was the defendant?
Yes, that is correct. But Master Soren tried to take all the blame onto himself.
No way! This is pretty bad, Nick. No kidding. Pretty bad is an understatement. Well, well, Mr. Wright, it seems your decision to call for Mr. Nickety has backfired. For the true culprit behind the case remains the defendant, Ellen Wyatt. Ugh, could this get any worse? But Pierce was involved in the cover-up plot, and I bet he still has something to hide. Yeah, once again, Mr. Edgeworth getting all gloaty before the time actually comes. Ah, such a classic thing. Oh, wow, I did not leave myself with much health, did I? Oh, well.
I rushed to the Vista deck, but the crime had already been committed.
Hold it!
Wait a minute! I thought you went to the Vista deck with Mr. Sprocket.
Actually, that is not true.
Curse you, past bit! What do you mean?
I found this out afterward, but Master Soren went to the Vista deck alone. He went out the escape hatch in the reception hall and went along the outside wall.
What? Yes, confirmed. You can't be serious! You mean Mr. Wright's addlepated... Addlepated? What the heck is that word? Addlepated guess was actually correct? What's with the addlepated?
I suppose truth really is stranger than fiction.
Apple papple. So, Mr. Nickety, when you got to the scene, you saw Mr. Gloomsbury, Miss Wyatt, and Mr. Sprocket. Is that right?
That is exactly right. I saw Miss Ellen and Gloomsbury collapsed, and Master Soren writing in his notebook.
Hold it!
So when you and your group arrived at the Vista deck, the murder had already been committed?
That is correct. Gloomsbury had already been struck. Miss Ellen had lost consciousness, probably from the shock of the incident.
And how did Mr. Sprocket appear?
He was bleeding from the stab wound he'd received from Gloomsbury. Barely conscious, he was writing something in his notebook.
So the mysterious third person Ellen saw really was Soren then?
Master Soren said to me, "I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen."
Hold it!
Silver says, okay, I haven't said this a lot, but I love steampunk stuff, so almost all of these designs are wonderful. I agree. There's something about steampunk that is pretty, like, appealing. It's just kind of like a really cool aesthetic. So, Mr. Sprocket wrote a note of confession in order to take the blame for Miss Wyatt?
Yes. That notebook is the only form of memory Master Soren has. So you understand what his action meant, I trust.
Steamed punks. Okay, now I'm just thinking about the steamed hams thing, except with a whole bunch of, like, punks from back in the 80s. Like, you know, the anarchist punks that would just have, like, shaved heads, and they've got, like, raggedy clothes and a lot of spikes on. What did it mean, Nick? To Soren, everything in that notebook is true. So Soren tried to take the blame by altering his own memory to make himself think he did it. No!
Master Soren truly loves Miss Ellen. It must have been love that made him do that. But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook and hid the body.
Oh, whoopsies. This testimony of Pierce's. I wonder how much of it we can actually believe. Yeah, who knows what parts are true and what parts are more spun tales. Exactly. But we can't just stand around mulling it all over. We have to try and draw information out of him and see if there's any contradictions.
And you call them steampunks despite the fact they're obviously greasers.
Hold it!
Boop. Mr. Nickety, could you please tell this court about that in more detail?
That, you say? Which part do you mean, Mr. Wright? Could you be more specific?
Oh, all right. What part do I want to know more about? Hiding the body, tearing out the page. What do I think, like, he would screw up with? Yeah, I kind of want to know more about tearing out the page. Why did you go against Mr. Sprocket's order and tear out the page?
That is a silly question. As I told you before, disposing of anything that may harm the Sprocket family's reputation is simply a part of my job.
Oh, right. You did say that before, didn't you?
I tore the page out of the notebook in order to protect Master Soren. Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness testimony?
Okay, he tore out that page to protect Soren. I mean... I'm trying to think over this. That would make a lot of sense. I want to see what the other thing was. No, I guess not, Your Honor. I'd better be a bit more cautious here.
No? All right, very well.
Let me try the other one, because I want to see what that one could potentially do. Victorian times were wonders of invention. In fact, it's fact that someone back then said, everything has already... Okay. Everything that's already been has been done. Oh, how wrong they were. Oh yes, and now we live in the super future.
Hold it!
There is a part of my brain that, like, I wonder what it would be like if somebody were to go back in time and, like, just brought a cell phone with them. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? Just to be like, okay, or, like, even better, just turn it off, hand it over to them, and they barely have any buttons on them, so they'd probably look at it just being like, oh, well, what the heck is this? Do I scrub myself with it? I'm confused. And then you make that shit glow, and their brains would explode. You would be called out for witchcraft. You know what? Fair enough. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Please tell me more about the hiding of the body.
Very well. After saying he would take the blame, Master Soren passed out. That's when I hid the body. I quickly took the lift down to the hold, where I hid Gloomsbury's still warm body in the spare peggable lantern.
So it was you who hid the body, not the defendant?
To think Mr. Butts would move the lantern containing the body to the reception hall. Well, I did not see that coming.
I don't blame you. Not even Larry can predict what Larry will do next. Maybe I should take another look at the lantern evidence.
Mr. Wright, could you...
Okay, would you like the statement added? Oh, of course. That sounds like that's the right answer. Yes, please.
Very well. Please add that statement to your testimony, Mr. Nickety.
Mr. Nick and Mr. Nickety. Together in the courtroom at last. Anyway,
in the hold, I hid the still warm body in the spare peggable lantern.
Hold it!
Why did you hide the body in the lantern?
As I told you yesterday, it was to make it so that, make it as though the murder never happened. But thanks to Mr. Butts, things did not turn out as planned.
So holding the second wedding reception wasn't Mr. Sprocket's idea. But yours, wasn't it?
That was all for Master Soren's sake and Sprocket Aviation. If I'm accused of a crime for trying to cover up the incident, I shall accept it willingly.
He really doesn't seem to even care about himself. So he's talking about the cover-up after the incident, huh? Right. That's information only somebody who was actually involved could know. So it might be a really important piece of testimony. I think so too. I'll really have to tread carefully here. Ooh, keep that in mind. He probably said something that he's the only person would know. Funny Stuff says, Larry seems like he'd make for a good character in an ensemble sitcom. Alright, now I'm just imagining Larry walking into the room, just, you know, surprise, ladies! And then just uproarious applause. Woo! 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 Anyway. So, yeah. We were talking about the lantern. Which lantern are we referring to? The victim was discovered inside one of the lanterns in the reception hall. This is probably not it, but, Grab element, no, that makes, that scans. Here's the broken lantern. The restored lantern. There's a blood stain on the inside wheel handle, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Ooh. Yeah, I get this sneaking suspicion that this lantern's got something particularly smelly on it.
Objection!
And it does! It smells putrid. Could it be? Is that what happened? If what I'm thinking is true, then maybe I can prove neither Ellen nor Soren did the deed. Mr. Nickety, you said the body was still warm when you hit it, correct? So then, what if Mr. Gloomsbury was still alive when you went to put his body inside the lantern?
What? What? That's preposterous!
Actually, this shows that the victim might have still been alive while inside the lantern.
I'm afraid you'll have to point out which part you're talking about, Mr. Wright.
The blood on the handle on the inside! This part here shows that the victim might have still been alive inside the lantern.
Take that!
Holy shit! As you can see, the back end of the lantern is a door. And there's blood here on the wheel handle.
Objection!
That blood stain must have gotten there when the witness put the body inside the lantern. It in no way shows that the victim drew his last breath while he was within the lantern. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth, for you see, in putting this lantern back together, the police inadvertently placed the inside handle on the outside and vice versa. In other words, the wheel handles got swapped.
Oh my! So they got swapped!
That's literally what I said, Your Honor. Yes, they got swapped. They got swapped.
Do they get swapped?
Yeah, they got swapped.
Oh, the humanity!
What? They got swapped? Yes, they got swapped.
What? That's ridiculous.
Not at all. If you compare the other male peggable lantern in the reception hall. I'm sorry, what got swapped? It! It's quite obvious the wheel handles were attached backwards. The detective in charge of the restoration will see me in my office later. Oh, Emma, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Emma. And good luck.
In that case, what does the bloodstain on the wheel handle mean?
The bloodstain didn't get there by chance. When the victim was put inside the lantern, he was only unconscious, not dead. When he regained consciousness, he probably tried to get out of the lantern. So he grasped the inner wheel handle, and that's when the blood got on it. This proves that the victim was still alive when he was inside the lantern. Boy, I really wish we could have a seance right now because this would answer a lot of questions.
At the time, I was completely convinced Bloomsbury was dead. Had I checked more carefully, he might have survived.
Unfortunate to be sure, but not significant enough to change this trial's outcome. Again, I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. It actually has a very significant impact on this case. Look at that face. The victim was struck by the defendant, then died from his injuries sometime later. There's nothing more to it.
Objection!
Funny Stuff says, yeah, thinking about it, why wouldn't they have the DLC case feature the game's cool gimmick? Meh. I mean, this game really seems like a trip back through memory lane. I feel like that would probably muddy the waters if they decided to throw something, like, brand new back in. Like, this has been very customary and pretty much, like, to the letter how a Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney case should go. Or, like, has gone in the past. So, you know. That's where you're wrong. Let's take another look at Mr. Gloomsbury's autopsy report, shall we? Please focus on the description of his injuries. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage from a strong blow to the head. One contusion was found on the back of the head, and one on the side. The blows were caused by the same weapon. Whoa! It says, one contusion was found on the back of the head, and one on the side. Yes, the one Mr. Sprocket gave him, and the one Miss Wyatt delivered to finish him off. No, the defense would like to submit a different interpretation.
A different interpretation.
The victim was knocked unconscious by the first blow, and was then put into the lantern.
Then what about the lethal blow by the defendant that the witness talked about?
Your Honor, have you not been following? Yes, well, that didn't happen. After some time, when the victim regained consciousness and tried to get out of the lantern, that's when he received the second blow that finished him off.
Taking into account the fact that the victim was alive for a period after the first hit, and that he did receive a second blow to the head, it does seem entirely possible.
Yes, as long as the first blow didn't kill the victim instantly. Then there's a possibility that someone other than Mr. Sprocket or Miss Wyatt delivered the fatal blow.
Objection!
Who are you to be the expert on head injury? Oh, wait. That's all you've got? Even if there was a time lag between the two blows, the prosecution's position doesn't change. What? What do you mean? It's elementary, my dear Wright. After the reception, when the defendant was cleaning up the reception hall, the victim, who was supposed to be dead, suddenly came out of the lantern. The defendant grabbed the murder weapon, which was right there, and finished him off.
That theory sounds awfully familiar.
Of course it does, Your Honor, because it's exactly what I proposed at the very start. The second blow was inflicted by the defendant after all.
I see. It seems a tangle of mysteries has unraveled into a single thread.
Objection!
No! We're dealing with a yarn ball, sir. But as long as there's a possibility that the fatal blow was delivered by a third person, then we must continue the deliberations. Give it up, Mr. Wright, unless you have something to prove the presence of your precious third person. Okay, Nick, just relax. You can do this. Come on now. Take some deep breaths. Good idea. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. There. Don't you feel better already? Maya's right. I should calm down, get my focus back, and go over everything again. And then, hopefully, I'll be able to find something to prove there was a third person. Opens console. Types third person. Done. Let's see. First, why did Gloomsbury attack Ellen? Because he was tired of taking the blame for the accident. Oh. Drop my stylus. Whoopsies. But something about that line of reasoning just doesn't feel quite right to me. No? How come? Well, if it's just a personal vendetta, he had already stabbed Soren. So why then was he so determined to go after Ellen? You're right. This whole thing feels too premeditated for a crime of passion. But Gloomsbury didn't seem to have a personal grudge against Ellen. If Gloomsbury didn't have a personal reason to attack Ellen, then... You've taken long enough, Mr. Wright. Now it's time for some action. Fluffy says, coincidence that I was crocheting, chain stitching, stitched for a grappling hook for the umbrellas I'm making. Ooh, very nice. What proof do you have that a third person was involved? All right, I'll show you. I'm not completely sure of what I'm doing yet, but it looks like I'm out of time. I don't know what I'm doing either, and I'm saving because I only have 2 health. This piece of evidence proves the involvement of a third person. Okay, so let's think about this constructively. There is a premeditated thing happening here. And maybe the Gloomsbury note has got something to do with it. Grab Ellen when convenient, then send her off from the Vista deck. You know, something's interesting about this. Gloomsbury had this note. And I feel like this doesn't make a whole lot of sense if he was the one that was holding the note. He wouldn't write a note for himself and then carry said note and then go and kidnap Ellen. And I feel like there would be a third person involved that somebody, that handed him over this note. So I'm going to say it's this.
Take that!
I get it now. Now I see why this note bothered me so much when I first saw it. Fluffy says the note was written by a right-handed person, and isn't he left-handed? Oh, interesting. It looks like a note outlining the murder plot. That note was apparently written by the victim. But why would he feel the need to write instructions to himself like this? Your Honor, please take a look at this note.
This is the victim's murder plan, right?
It's definitely a murder plan, but what if Mr. Gloomsbury didn't write this note himself?
What?
Are we going to argue that somehow Gloomsbury had the exact same affliction as fricking Soren? Because I am not going to stick with that. This is how you intend to conjure up your mysterious third party, Mr. Wright? Can you even prove that that note wasn't written by the victim? Yes. Yes, I can.
Very well. Please present your evidence, Mr. Wright.
This evidence proves the victim didn't write the note. Fluffy mentioned that, He's right-handed, isn't he? Okay. So how do we make that point clear? Which piece of evidence here specifically mentioned that, mentions that he is right-handed? Well, actually, it might literally just be the note again, if you think about it. Note found near the victim's body. The writing is smudged as though written by a right-handed person. I'm gonna, yeah, you know what, screw it. Let's try it.
Take that!
This is the proof you've been dying to, oh boy. It doesn't look like anything of the sort to me.
I have to agree.
Just close your eyes and concentrate, Your Honor. Is something coming to you?
No, nothing at all.
Nothing, huh?
Mr. Wright, close your eyes and concentrate. Do you see something coming to you?
I should have seen that coming. Looks like I better try again. All right, so it's not literally the note itself. So we need to note the fact that, okay, note found near the victim's body, writing is smudged as though it was written by a right-handed person. So what piece of evidence would show? Badge! No. Funny enough, actually, hold on a second. Maybe Ellen's statement has something in it. Let me see. When Ellen was attacked by Gloomsbury out of the vista deck, she saw, in her dazed state, a shadowy figure hit Gloomsbury from behind. She fainted immediately afterwards. Thus didn't get a good look at whoever it was. Okay. Nothing specifies that. Well, actually, no. I remember now. Hold on. The candelabra. Let me see here. There we go. Candelabra from the hole. Okay. Hold bearing fingerprints from Gloomsbury's dominant left hand.
Take that!
Herp-de-derp. This is the weapon Mr. Gloomsbury used to stab Mr. Sprocket. I was wondering what you'd pull out this time. Dare I ask what could possibly have to do with this note? Mr. Gloomsbury's prints were found on this candelabra, and the prints were from his left hand.
So that makes the victim left-handed, correct?
Exactly, Your Honor. The police looked into it too, and confirmed as much. Now, take a look at the smudged writing in this note. Notice how the smudging only starts from the middle of each preceding line. Had this been written by a lefty, the writing would be smudged from the far left end. This means that whoever wrote this note was definitely right-handed. In other words, somebody other than the victim wrote this note.
What? But if someone other than Mr. Gloomsbury wrote it, then what does this note mean?
Mr. Gloomsbury followed this note to the letter when he attacked Miss Wyatt. So clearly this note isn't a murder plan written by Mr. Gloomsbury, but rather, these are instructions to kill Miss Wyatt issued by somebody else.
Objection!
If it wasn't the victim who wrote these so-called instructions, then who wrote it? Most of the people involved are right-handed, you know.
He is correct. The majority of the family and their employees who were on the airship are indeed right-handed. I must say, that is a very rough and slipshod conjecture you proposed.
I admit I haven't figured out who wrote it just yet. Leave it to Mr. Edgeworth to go for the jugular. This culprit who ordered Gloomsbury to attack Ellen. What could their motive have been? It doesn't seem very likely Ellen did anything to incur anybody's wrath, right? Right. Not too likely, anyway. In that case, it has to be about Soren. If somebody were to hold a grudge against Soren, what would it be about? That accident, I'd guess. I could understand if Gloomsbury felt resentful about having to take the blame. But the one who lost the most of that accident was Soren's sister. She lost her life, after all. Did she? Is she somehow alive and angry? Soren suffered too, of course. He was crushed by losing somebody so precious to him. Funny Stuff says, every time I see Pierce, I get reminded that you need to watch Black Butler. It's been on your show-related bucket list for forever. Black Butler, is that an anime? I do not even know. Anyway. Somebody precious. Soren's sister. Wait! There's one more person! It is an anime. Thank God! There's someone else who must hold a grudge against Soren. Did you figure something out? I think so. I think this somebody else used Gloomsbury to try and get revenge against Soren.
Did you say somebody tried to get revenge against Mr. Sprocket, Mr. Wright?
The person who manipulated and used Mr. Gloomsbury was... Interesting. Thank you very much for sending bits and... I've seen funny... Fluffy has sent 10 bits so far and also gave a tier 1 sub. Thank you very much. Not necessary, but, like, I appreciate it nonetheless. Huh. So... I'm trying to remember completely here. Huh. Yeah, who the heck is Selena's fiancé? We don't know much about them. The person who used Mr. Gloomsbury to try and get revenge on Mr. Sprocket, and then finished Mr. Gloomsbury off to silence him, was a man dear to Mr. Sprocket's older sister, Selena Sprocket's fiancé! Not that I'm not positive, but it's certainly possible. This fiancé could have made Gloomsbury attack Ellen to get his revenge on Soren. What?
Her fiancé?
I want to make a how fancy joke, but I can't make the connection work.
Order in the court. Order, I say. Yes, it does seem quite believable that Miss Selena Sprocket's fiancé would bear a grudge against Mr. Sprocket for his role in the accident.
Fluffy says, my fear is that Pierce is the fiancé. Let's figure this out, Joey. Exactly, Your Honor. Maybe her fiancé was trying to murder Miss Wyatt in order to make Mr. Sprocket's experience the same pain to experience the same pain Mr. Sprocket experienced in the same pit that... My brain, holy crap. In order to make Mr. Sprocket's experience the same pain he'd felt.
Objection!
Sorry, that sentence looped in my head for some reason. Miss Sprocket's fiancé was a surgeon, if memory serves. But the only people who attended the reception were family and staff members. So that means we need to go look for a surgeon. Please tell me it's not Mr. Hottie. Please tell me it's not Mr. Hottie. That may be, but then that just means that Miss Sprocket's fiancé must have been among those who attended. What? Really? Of course. Otherwise, how could he have killed Gloomsbury? Oh, I see what you're doing. This is just another giant bluff, isn't it? All right, I'll bite. Who exactly do you claim this fiancé to be?
Yes, I would like to know as well.
Ah! The symbol on his pocket watch is the same as the one in the photo of Selena, you think. You say you think. But let's take a look. Ah! Oh no! Shit! Are you sure you're gonna be okay, Nick? Maybe. When it comes to suspicious people, there's only one person on my list. I need to find something that connects him to Selena. This will help us identify Miss Sprocket's fiancé. Uh-oh. Please take a look at this photo, Your Honor.
That photo.
Notice Miss Sprocket's pocket watch. Haven't we seen it somewhere before?
Yes. Now that you mention it, I do feel as if I've seen it somewhere before. Oh, piss.
I believe we've all seen it. Right here in this very courtroom.
Oh, impossible!
That's right. The pocket watch in this photo. Fancy bastard. It's the same pocket watch Mr. Nickety has on him right now! And there's no way it could possibly be manufactured multiple times. I don't know, maybe it's a special one that he made himself. Like usually how this entire thing goes.
What?
This is clear proof of a strong connection between Pierce Nickety and Selena Sprocket.
No! Well, Mr. Nickety, is this true?
Yeah, not really grinning at the moment. Mr. Nickety, you were once engaged to Selena Sprocket. That pocket watch, you keep it as a memento of her, don't you? Silent as always. Mr. Nickety, you plan to rob Mr. Sprocket of his loved one, to make him feel the same pain as you. Isn't that right? But Mr. Sprocket managed to fight back and knocked Mr. Gloomsbury unconscious. You thought Mr. Gloomsbury was dead and hid his body in the lantern. Pierce eats pocket watch.
What is a pocket watch? I've never seen a pocket watch.
But then you noticed Mr. Gloomsbury regained consciousness. And so you finished him off to prevent your plan from being exposed. This is the defense's take on what really happened in this murder case.
Miss Wright, does this mean you wish to officially accuse this witness of the murder of DeMoss Gloomsbury?
Does the defense accuse Mr. Nickety of the murder? Well, as sad as I am to say it, it fits. Poorly paints over symbol on watch with gold paint.
It's a different one, I swear to God.
The defense indicts Pierce Nickety on the charge of murdering DeMoss Gloomsbury.
Oh my! Mr. Nickety, would you care to respond? Man, this lawyer just yaps on and on and on. As you guessed, this watch is a memento of Selena. It stopped working at the time of the accident, though.
So, you just keep checking your watch, despite the fact that it doesn't actually tell time. There had better be a picture on one side of that thing, or you are a nutcase. Then, you really are.
Yes, I was Selena's fiancé. And not just her fiancé, but the surgeon beside her deathbed.
Objection!
Mr. Nickety, why didn't you tell me any of this before? Shut it, you useless prosecutor.
Holy shit.
I thought you could be of use, but apparently this case was too much for you. What did you say? If your office hadn't stuck its nose all up in this, I could have swept it under the rug. Not only did you interfere with this case, but you even let me fall under suspicion.
That's because you kept trying to cover things up on the sly.
Ugh.
But covering things up wasn't your only involvement. The only person who had a motive to use the victim to try and kill Miss Wyatt was you! Fight! 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 Oh, Jesus. You want to check that thing? Might have to defrag it for a second. Please tell me it's going to turn into some, like, evil robot. Oh, whoa! Oh, God, he is a surgeon. What? What? What?
Malignant tumors. There are malignant tumors in this courtroom, lesions oozing with false charges. The tumors are one idiotic lawyer and one useless prosecutor. After the truth is revealed, I'll have both of you incised for in the legal world.
I'd like to see you try.
With the power of the Sprocket family, it'd be a cinch.
The medic! Oh dear. Yep, he's making a death robot.
I will now begin the operation.
What in the world happened to Mr. Nickety? He went crazy, like everyone who gets up on that stand. Looks like he's finally showing his true colors. Nick, look what he did to that shoulder mech! Oh no! That face. He looks so sad.
Quit your yapping before I
Suture your chatty lips shut. Oh my god. That is a very weird string of words. It's like he's a completely different person. Sure looks like it. We can't let our guards down now. Mr. Nickety, it's finally time for you to testify. To the truth!
It seems we're entering the final act at last. Witness, your testimony, please.
Are we? Is this really the final act? Kinda scared now. Right to remain silent. Oh no, please tell me he's not gonna... No! No, you asshole! Shit! Mr. Nickety! Why didn't you say anything? Okay. Yeah, he just took a picture of me. Or something. What the hell? Oh my god, look at the hair. Apparently that's a part of my skull.
You want me to voluntarily testify, hoping I will make a slip of the tongue? Not a very impressive plan. Brain, I might add.
Ow, that was uncalled for.
If you want to know something, you ask the question. I will answer, but I have no intention of making any voluntary statements of my own.
Ugh. What's he trying to do, Nick? He's using the silent treatment as a strategy to avoid getting tripped up. Clever guy. No more lies, Mr. Nickety. You will tell us nothing but the truth from now on. You taking a picture of him now?
What do you think you're doing? No one asked you to speak. Just keep quiet over there and play with your frills. How dare you? Well, this is a rather unconventional situation, but please proceed, Mr. Wright. Also, can I get that picture too? Take a picture of my luscious beard.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's time for your examination.
Oh boy, how the heck's this gonna work? For God's sake. I haven't felt this tripped up since I attempted to try and, you know, interrogate a parrot.
Hold it!
If he won't speak voluntarily, then I guess I'll have to ask him something. What question should I ask? Reason for killing Bloomsbury. Grudge against Soren. Actions on the day of the crime. Alright, reason. Isn't it true that when Mr. Bloomsbury regained consciousness inside the lantern, you murdered him in order to silence him?
He was an excellent employee and very loyal to me. Bloomsbury was my right-hand man. I'd suffer the most from losing him. You really think I'd kill a guy like that?
That would make sense only if you were innocent, but since your goal was revenge, you don't really have to care about something like that.
But I am innocent, I tell you! Don't try to force your conjectures onto me!
Ugh. I guess without decisive evidence, I can't pursue this line of questioning any further.
Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness testimony?
Screw it. Probably useless, but... Yes, please, Your Honor. Every little bit I can drag out of him helps, right?
Bloomsbury was my right-hand man. I'd suffer the most from losing him.
Okay, this is how it works. We're trying to just uncover the testimony that we don't have.
Hold it!
Funny stuff says, honestly, I get this weird adrenaline rush whenever we come across a character who totally transforms into a wacko. Same. It's freaking amazing. I'll say, like, for the ridiculous feature creep of some of these very weird, you know, people a part of these testimonies, it's still hilarious to see. And it's always something just a little bit screwy and different. If he won't speak voluntarily, I'll have to ask him something. Alright, let's talk about the grudge against Soren. You've been nursing a grudge against Mr. Sprocket over the loss of your fiancée. Isn't that right?
I'd be lying if I said I felt no resentment whatsoever. But Master Soren didn't cause that accident on purpose. Master Soren himself has suffered greatly.
But you quit being a surgeon and found a way to get even closer to Mr. Sprocket. Wasn't that so you could carry out your revenge on him?
Don't insult me. Supporting Master Soren and Sprocket Aviation with my life's work is my penance for not being able to save Selena. This is how I honor her. I feel your devotion as both a fiancé and a surgeon. Your statement breaks my heart. I've never thought of exacting revenge on Master Soren.
Never thought of it, eh? I guess I should probably take that with a pound of salt. A pound of it.
Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added?
Sure. Funny Stuff says, also, that's a cool gimmick, having to make him create his own testimony. Yes. Okay, well, again, we're filling it out, slowly.
I've never thought of exacting revenge on Master Soren.
Hold it!
If you won't speak voluntarily, we'll talk about stuff. Actions on the day of the crime. On the day of the incident, you were constantly surrounded by your subordinates. Is that right?
Absolutely. I was in someone's line of sight at all times. After all, I was busy taking care of every detail of the event. Mr. Edgeworth, I believe your investigation backs up my claim.
I got statements that said groups of his subordinates worked with him in rotation, so he was always with someone.
As the prosecutor just said, I couldn't even get close to the lantern containing Bloomsbury myself, let alone kill him.
Pierce didn't have a chance to get close to the victim alone, huh?
Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness's testimony?
Yeah, sure. Why aren't real courtrooms like this? Because reality is boring. All right. I got all of it. What do you think, Nick? Is there a chance for us here? Well, as long as we have some kind of testimony from him, there has to be. I'll just have to compare his testimony against the evidence and find any inconsistencies, right? Exactly. This is it. I have to do this right. Anyway, I wonder if these things are any different now that I've actually, unlocked them. That being said, now that I've unlocked them, I'm going to save. In reality, judges do not tolerate any bullshit from anyone. This is also very true.
Hold it!
What did Mr. Gloomsbury think of Mr. Sprocket? After all, he was forced to take the blame for the accident. He must have been resentful.
He got his position as the lead servant in exchange for taking the blame. It wasn't exactly a bad deal for him.
But he must have felt some sort of indignation.
Who knows? Now that he's dead, we'll never know for sure. It's pointless to talk about it any further.
All right. Dead men tell no tales, after all.
I never thought of exacting revenge on Master Soren.
Oh, really? So you have had no thoughts of vengeance towards Mr. Sprocket whatsoever?
Of course not! Selena would have had... Wait. Selena wouldn't have wanted that. I've thrown my own life away and lived solely for the sake of the Sprocket family. That's how I show my love for her.
Alrighty then. Well, one thing's for sure. Pierce gets really emotional when it comes to Selena. No kidding. I'm not sure how he feels about Soren, but his love for Selena is pretty obvious. I was always in the company of others. I didn't have any opportunity to murder Gloomsbury. Okay. So you were always in somebody's line of sight.
I was surrounded by family members and staff as we prepared for the reception. During the reception, I was stationed behind the sweetheart table to attend to the couple. When could I have possibly committed murder?
I'm not buying it. If Pierce is the true killer, then there must have been some time when he was out of everyone's sight. Okay, well, let's think about that one. We probably have a piece of evidence sitting around somewhere that contradicts this. Anyway, let me save really quick. The one thing that I think is really glaring here, I'd never thought of exacting revenge. I was always in the company of others. I didn't have an opportunity to murder Gloomsbury. Well, hold the phone. Let's see if that is not the case. Is there anything in the notebook that particularly pertains to him going somewhere? Let's see. No, I don't think so. Out of everyone's sight, yes. Let me think. I don't think the newspaper article would give any kind of indication. The hold entry record. Well, I wonder if the hold entry... Okay, did we already discuss the whole hold entry thing? But if that's the case, then maybe that could be brought up again. Hey, Splat, how you doing? Photo of the hold, stealthily taken by Larry Ellen, could be seen near the center. Cookie smoky. And then when we take a look at this picture... Yep, there he is. Pretty boy bastard. Fog machine. The fog machine! Going insane with Towerfall. I've heard Towerfall is pretty fun. I have not personally played it, but I have seen some gameplay in it. It just seems like a whole lot of, like... What's a good way to put it? I'm trying to think, like, I don't know. I was thinking, you know, ridiculous is a good concept. What's the word? What's the freaking word? Slapstick. I was thinking slapstick at one point, but I'm like, no, that doesn't really cover it all that often. Or all that much. All right. Let me see. That's the layout of the hold. Ellen's statement. No. Well, I don't have much to lose just by, you know, tossing down my thing. I just feel like maybe the hold entry record has something to do with it.
Objection!
Okay, maybe not. Your Honor, I have a feeling this piece of evidence contradicts the witness's statement.
A feeling defense.
Yes, Your Honor, or rather, a hope that it indicates a contradiction.
Mr. Wright, is there or isn't a contradiction here?
It looks like there is, but there really isn't one, is there?
Are you asking me, Mr. Wright? Because what it really seems like to me is you're asking for a penalty. And a loss. That's enough. I see no need to further prolong this trial. The defense's case is insufficient to overturn the prosecution's claims. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Wyatt, guilty.
One more for the road! Shoot. Alright. Let's see where it drops me off. Maybe it'll, like, allow me to keep all of my court record and stuff. Because I'd hate to do this on one life. Holy crap. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh boy, it looks like we're starting from square one. Oh, nuts! You know what? Simply because of the fact that I want to do this as fresh as possible. I want to have some health, and I want to have the ability of, like, making mistakes, so I'm just going to skip through all of it. Do. It's funny, I haven't seen any kind of, like, I haven't seen an inconvenience like this in a Phoenix Wright game in such a long period of time. Like, I remember playing through the original games, it was painful as all balls. Because there weren't a whole lot of hints going on. So if you messed up, you probably messed up permanently. Okay.
Hold it!
And I'm pretty sure all I'm going to need to do is just unlock all 3 of these, and that'll be the end of it. Because I tried checking all the statements, but at the end of the day, it didn't look like the statements unlocked any new information that I needed. So, unless I need to check all the statements like a 3rd time. Which I'd like to think that's not the case. Alright. Fluffy has sent 5 Shamrocks. It's just like, here's 5 more bits for getting your 5 chances back. Thank you. Anyway, I was always in the company of others. I didn't have an opportunity to murder Gloomsbury. Well, let's think about that. What point in time would he have to be able to, like, you know, when was he away from people? The Timekeeper, the Fog Machine, the photo of Selena, nah. Photo of the reception. Well, here's, okay. All right, I just had a thought. Which reception was this made? Like, which reception was this picture taken at? That's what I'm wondering. And also, didn't we have, like, a second picture of the reception? Because I'm thinking, okay, well, you were at one reception, but when was this picture taken? Because perhaps you actually weren't back there during a particular reception where somebody could have been killed.
Objection!
Ooh! Mr. Nickety testifies that he was always with someone at the time of the incident, and never had a moment alone to commit the crime.
Yes, and the police investigation backs that statement up, doesn't it?
But there was an opportunity. In fact, one and only one. A moment when Mr. Nickety could have killed Mr. Gloomsbury without anyone noticing.
What?
And the one thing that made that moment possible is shown here in this photo.
With all these people watching, I couldn't have possibly committed murder. Do not believe him, Your Honor. This lawyer is a malignant tumor. He wants to infect this judicial body with virulent, accusations.
Mr. Nickety, I would ask that you keep quiet this time. We need to evaluate the defense's claim. I thought it was going to say evacuate. Just get the hell out of my court. And your yammering only serves to throw further suspicion your way. Mr. Wright, let's see this one thing you mentioned. But be warned, this had better not be one of your offhanded claims. It might be. Let me just put down a safety net. Who do you think you're talking to, Mr. Edgeworth? I know who I'm talking to. Shut up.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please point out for us the one thing that made the moment of the murder possible.
That one moment when it was possible for Mr. Nickety to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. The one thing that made that single moment possible is this. Do you think? Huh. Do you think it was the fog? I wonder. Because the one thing that we have not been talking about this entire time was the fog. Like, this fog machine has been sitting in our inventory for so freaking long, and this might have something to do with it.
Take that!
The one thing that made the moment of the murder possible is this thick mood fog that engulfed the entire reception hall. It is under the cover of this fog that Mr. Nickety murdered the victim.
What?
Mr. Nickety was standing right next to the lantern that Mr. Gloomsbury was in. Oh my god. Okay, so now I'm just imagining like this really nice, happy reception and everybody's enjoying themselves and whatnot. And then you just see him like slowly start to inch his way over to the lantern. And, like, I don't know, almost like some sort of a Monty Python sketch where he just grabs it and then he's just slowly, step by step, moving towards the lantern. And then you just see him violently swing and you just hear, like, the sound of poof! And then he just closes it back up and moves back to spot immediately. Oh my god. It's like, you know, Holy Grail all over again. Cartoonish bonk sound, exactly, funny stuff. Mr. Nickety was standing right next to the lantern that Mr. Gloomsbury was in. This was the only moment the murder could have been committed without being seen.
Objection.
I can accept that there was a moment when the witness was obscured from the others by fog. But that doesn't prove Mr. Nickety killed the victim at that very moment. If you can't prove the crime was committed during the reception, the trial ends here. I was so caught up in finding a foothold that I forgot to think that far ahead. Well done, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time to call this trial's time of death. Well, Mr. Wright, can you prove the murder happened during the reception? Don't even bother. His claim is dead on arrival. Victory is within your grasp, prosecutor. Quiet, witness! I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can only arrive at through further deliberation. Edgeworth! Now, enough of this. Your Honor, this trial is over!
No, Mr. Nickety. That is for me to decide. Mr. Wright, can you prove it? Can you prove that the murder was committed during the wedding reception?
I don't know! How wouldn't anyone not hear a loud thud? Again, I'm just, you know, that one scene from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's just like, I feel fine! No, I think I'll go for a walk! I feel happy! I feel happy! Poof!
There you are, sir.
Why is there no verdict yet? The lawyer's obviously out of answers. The prosecutor, the judge, they're all infected. Their malignant stupidity is so advanced, not even the best surgeons can save them. Oh wait, sorry, wrong voice. Malignant, not even to save them. In fact, not even a brain transplant could. This core's infected with idiocy. It's a pandemic.
Objection.
Mr. Nickety, that's enough already. Finally ready to give up, are you? No, just the opposite, actually. I'll prove the murder was committed during the reception. By you! Ugh.
You'll prove it? Can you really, Mr. Wright?
Yes, I can, Your Honor. To be honest, I don't know exactly how I'll do it just yet. But if I want to get to the truth Edgeworth was talking about, I'll just have to find that way.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Let's have your proof.
Enough of this foolishness! He's just bluffing! Stop him from speaking, Your Honor!
I will do nothing of the sort.
You are just a district court judge with the power of the Sprocket family, huh?
Enough of your foolishness, Mr. Nickety!
Ooh, judge is getting angry.
This judicial body will not succumb to the influence of money or power.
Now then, let's hear it, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your truth. Think, Phoenix. Remember everything you've learned so far. Let me go ahead and save here just in case. Everybody hates Pierce. Sundays at 8. You can do this. You can find the definitive evidence that will lead us to the truth. Time for another brain blast. I like this new feature of Phoenix Wright. Think, Phoenix. How can I prove the murder took place during the wedding reception? If Pierce committed the murder during the reception, then he had to have used his shoulder mech FXR. I don't know if he was wearing that or not. He had to have used the murder weapon, the reception photo. I don't think the reception photo could have possibly killed somebody. Yeah, it sounds a heck of a lot like the murder weapon definitely was used. Yes, the weapon that was used to strike the victim twice. According to the autopsy report, the victim was hit by the same object both times. So without a doubt, Pierce used it to commit the murder. The weapon used to kill Gloomsbury was the Timekeeper, the candelabra, the key of love. No, it was the Timekeeper. If Pierce struck the victim during the one single moment, then he must have used the Timekeeper. Come to think of it, wasn't it also used for something else during the reception? During the reception, the Timekeeper was also used for the cutting of the time machine, the first startup of love, the first taste of love. Oh, it was the first startup of love. I remember that. Why are clocks often the murder weapon in these games? I don't know. The Timekeeper had been activated. That's right! The Timekeeper had been activated during the reception. If we activate the Timekeeper again now and find any trace of evidence of the murder, that would be conclusive proof that Gloomsbury was killed during the reception. A special ceremony took place during the reception in question.
What kind of special ceremony?
It was called the first startup of love. Apparently, the couple activated the Timekeeper for the first time during it.
Does that mean the Timekeeper here in evidence isn't activated at the moment? And what would happen if we were to activate it?
We'd all go back in time, and I would become a rookie prosecutor. A rookie defense lawyer again. Well, actually, it'd be weird if we lived in some sort of a negative universe where I became a prosecutor. Why don't we see for ourselves? It would give us a chance to examine it. And while we're at it, we just might find some conclusive evidence.
What?
No! You can't activate it!
Mr. Nickety, keep quiet or I'll have you thrown out of the court. By the way, Mr. Wright, this is supposed to be a time machine, right? We aren't going to travel back in time to the Stone Age or anything, are we?
The judge lives in his own little world. I don't think we have to worry too much about that, Your Honor. Phoenix Edgeworth.
I'm still a little nervous nonetheless, but the truth must be known. Very well. Go ahead and start up the Timekeeper.
I feel like this is going to be wholesome as shit. Do you know how, Nick? I think so. Maybe. The bride and groom each have a symbol of their love, and when they put them together... Oh, how romantic it was! Let's see. I think the symbol of the groom's love must be the Timekeeper itself. What symbol of the bride's love would fit together with the Timekeeper? Oh, I know! That has to be it!
Mr. Wright, are you ready to activate the time machine now?
Yes, Your Honor. The symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the Timekeeper is Helen's pendant.
Take that!
Miss Wyatt's pendant. You start it up and a picture of Jimmy Neutron's dad pops out of the top. Oh, that'd be great.
Looks like you're having a wedding, Jimbo.
Is the symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the Timekeeper.
But what? Then does that mean you can start it up with Miss Wyatt's pendant?
Dude, where have you been?
I
believe so, Your Honor.
Very well. Please try it now, Mr. Wright.
Okay, here I go. But first, I have to figure out where the pendant goes. Let's see. My guess is that it probably goes on the opposite side of where that gear is. Probably. Let's try it. Why not? I don't think this is the spot. I better try somewhere else. Oh, whoops. Okay. I don't know. It had a shadow. It had a shadow on it. Actually, there's a little spot right there. Never mind. This hole looks like a good spot. I'll try setting the pendant in here. Click-clack. It fits! This must be the right spot. Now I have to find a place to insert the key. Okie dokie. That looks like a good keyhole. Hello? Actually, that's a very good question. What looks like a keyhole here? Could the front possibly be a keyhole? Because the back end over here doesn't look like anything. What the hell? Huh. Yeah, genuinely, like, keyhole has been hidden very well. I feel like a young child attempting to try and solve, like, a block puzzle or something. The front bit? The outer casing is made of metal. I sure wouldn't want to get hit with something like this. Oh. Thanks, Phoenix. The back. This part. The caboose. That gear. Huh. How manual. This hole in the middle of the pendant. Could this be it? Oh. I'm an idiot. I am caveman. Pay no attention to me. Oh, there he goes. There. Whoa. What the heck are you? It worked. The timekeeper's been activated. And also, holy shit, it's cracked. Someone broke the thing. Funny stuff is saying Minecraft. No. Now, all I have to do is find proof that the crime was committed during the reception. Herp? The blood! I think I found it. Conclusive evidence that the murder was committed during the wedding reception. They broke it. Bastard. Just as I suspected, there's evidence of the murder inside the timekeeper, Mr. Nickety. The timekeeper was only activated and opened during the wedding reception, right? No! Stop! So that means this is conclusive proof that the crime was committed during the reception. Ah! After you killed the victim under the cover of fog, you closed the timekeeper to hide the bloodstain, didn't you? Look, it would be pretty if it weren't broken and covered in blood. No, you're wrong. Alan killed Bloomsbury. It wasn't me. I tell you. Give it up, Mr. Nickety. How could the defendant, who was in the middle of pledging her love, have possibly committed the murder with everyone watching her? It was the family. Yes, all of the family members conspired together to kill him. There's no way you can talk your way out of this, Mr. Nickety. During the reception, during that one dreamlike moment, only the person could have used the timekeeper to beat the victim to death. Only one person, rather. And that one person was you, Pierce Nickety! Again, I hope he builds just a super robot and just rides off into the sunset. Ah! Oh, no. No! This isn't over yet. I won't give up! Oh, no. I cut the artery! This stupid thing. We must stop the bleeding now. Give me forceps! Forceps, I said! Hey, where's everyone? Fine. I'll manage this alone. I'll do it all by myself. I can fix anything, repair anything. So you have to get better. You have to live. You must. I would have been able to save her. If only I'd listened to her. If only I treated her first. If only that Soren hadn't been there. Selena! No! Is he dead? Is he really dead? Probably not. Yay! I've killed a man.
Yay! We killed a man. Witness, are you finally ready to tell us the truth? It's just as the lawyer deduced.
So is all a revenge scheme against Soren Sprocket?
Do you have any idea how hard it is to lose someone you love right in front of you? Selena's condition was clearly more critical than Soren's. In spite of that, she said,
Please help Soren. Miss Sprocket's last words. So that's what she really meant by those words.
I was able to grant her wish, but at the price of her life.
So you got a job with Sprocket Aviation and waited for your chance to get revenge. You got close to Mr. Gloomsbury and hatched this plot. Is that right?
Gloomsbury already bore a grudge against Soren, so when I tempted him with an even better position, he immediately took the bait.
He was your accomplice, someone who shared the same goal as you. Why was it necessary for you to kill him?
I didn't expect Soren to strike Gloomsbury out on the Vista deck, and I certainly never imagined he'd make his way there along the outside wall.
Soren's love is the real deal after all.
My plan had been compromised, so for the time being, I hid his body in the lantern and tried to think of my next move.
And then Mr. Gloomsbury came to during the second wedding reception.
As soon as I saw Gloomsbury, I instantly hit upon an idea. To pin the blame on Gloomsbury's murder on Ellen.
You tried to break up the couple by making the bride out to be a murderer. How despicable!
Soren was getting the company and a wedding. Both things that were supposed to be Selena's. He took every happiness from her. Who's the despicable one here?
I mean, you clearly. Do you think what you did would make her happy?
I know it wouldn't! But I couldn't just stand by watching Soren enjoy his happiness. I was going to have Soren taste the same pain I had, and then take over Sprocket Aviation. I would take back from him all the happiness that was rightfully Selena's.
Well, too bad that didn't work, sucker.
Time stopped for me the day I lost her. Just like this pocket watch of hers.
Hello, Ellen.
Pierce,
Miss Wyatt?
I believe Selena would have said, leave this ill will behind. Your time is yours to live.
Well, it's your time to live in a jail cell now. Good job, dickhead.
It's too late for me. Time will never advance for me ever again.
Eh?
What? It can't be.
Oh. How freaking picturesque.
I see now, Selena. What I did was wrong. I see no further need to continue this trial. Bailiff, please take Mr. Nickety away.
Pierce Nickety, another inconsolable time traveler who lived in time that stood still. Funny Stuff says, also, there was no picture inside of it. So yes, he was just a Krakow looking at an unmoving watch.
Now then, I must render my verdict regarding the defendant.
Soren!
Your Honor,
Before you give your ruling, would you please allow me a moment?
very well.
Ellen, there's something I need to say to you.
Yes, Soren.
I've put you through something truly horrible. This whole thing happened all because of me. I would understand if you wanted to call off our marriage. What? You crazy bastard. Break her heart and I will punt you, says Silver.
Of course not! I've never once thought that.
If you stay with me, you'll only face even more trying times in the future.
What do you mean?
the truth of this incident and the car accident before it. I'm going to tell the public everything. I expect the company's reputation will suffer, and I'll take a lot of criticism. But I feel I can only really start over once I get everything out in the open.
Soren!
After all that's happened, I might not have the right to ask you this, but... Well, how should I say this? Maybe I'll just... Oh my god. Love letters. Love letter. No? A life with me probably won't be very easy, but... Will you marry me?
Yes, of course.
Will you two hug? Please. Kiss. Kiss. Your Honor, thank you for this time. Please, continue with your ruling.
Very well. But first, I have one question.
How the fuck did the proposal happen? Wait, what? Did he not say that to propose? I'm sure he did, but I feel like this is they're gonna do it again. They're gonna get back together again.
Do the two of you pledge your eternal love for each other to the goodness of justice, Themis?
Oh my god, are you all... Oh my god, wait a minute. Oh! I do, Your Honor.
I do.
Does the prosecution or the defense have any objections?
Well done, Your Honor. No objections here. The defense has no objections either, Your Honor.
This court finds the defendant, Ellen Wyatt. That's not right. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Sprocket, not guilty.
Wow, holy shit. We've had a wedding in the court. This is amazing.
This court is adjourned.
We've seen it all now. I don't know. I feel like we're going to be contested about that one. Oh, man. What a feel-good ending. Holy shit. September 23rd, 11:36 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Ellen, Soren, congratulations.
Mr. Wright, I can't thank you enough. If you hadn't exposed the truth, Soren and I wouldn't... We wouldn't...
Oh, please. Please, no more tears. Guys, go enjoy your honeymoon. But now you can finally start your new life together, right?
Oh, thank you!
Mr. Wright, we'll be holding our real wedding ceremony in the near future. Would you do us the honor of coming to it? I want you to witness our fresh start. Of course! I wouldn't miss it for the world! And Ellen, this time, it'll finally be happily ever after, right?
Oh, yes.
The two of you have persevered and overcome this trial together. Now, no matter what obstacles come your way, I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. And there's another thing I'm sure of, too. Oh god, are we going to be presenting something? Give me a moment. Funny says, I'm so angry that I made a joke and it happened a second later. It was adorable, but I was also joking. We live in Phoenix Wright land. There is no such thing as too ridiculous. This person will always be watching over the two of you. Oh my freaking god. Well, everybody's heart, get ready to explode.
Take that!
Selena, yes. I think you're right. And we promise to live life to the fullest, for Selena's sake too. Right, Soren?
That's right. Well, we better be on our way.
Yes, my love!
So much sap, I'm drowning in it. What if you said my badge? I'm not gonna ruin this moment by doing that. Wow, the old threshold carry, huh? Way to show off.
We'll be seeing you. Goodbye for now.
I'll be looking forward to that wedding.
Hold on tight, Ellen.
You better believe I will. I'm never letting you go.
Oh, what? Rocket Man! It's gonna be a long, long time. There they go. You're not thinking of going to that wedding by yourself, are you? Oh, hey. Hey, guys. The roof. Wait. I don't know. Maybe there's a skyline. You're taking us too, right? Oh, boy. I bet there's going to be all kinds of fancy food there. Am I going to have to pay for all of it? Athena, when did you get here? Just now. I would have been here to cheer you guys on earlier, but Jersey never gave me a chance to slip away. You're going to be in even bigger trouble with her later. Speaking of the wedding, maybe I should ask them to invite Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, really? But he thought Ellen was guilty all the way to the end. I mean, that's his job. That may be true, but... Here we go.
Don't even bother. His claim is dead on arrival. Victory is within your grasp, prosecutor.
Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can only arrive at through further deliberation. If he hadn't stood up for us when he did, the trial probably would have ended there. You mean Mr. Edgeworth gave us that chance? Maybe. Though knowing him, I doubt he'd ever tell, even if I asked. Well, if that's how you feel about it, Nick, then why not try to get him invited? Hey, Maya, have you ever tried to catch the bouquet? What? No. I never have either. Fighting over a bouquet that's been tossed by the bride. Talk about a fierce competition. Rugby! I'm totally stoked. I'm not sure it's really supposed to be all that competitive. I'm a pretty good jumper, so I think I got a chance. Also, I think you're extremely tall. She's definitely missing the point of the whole thing. And Larry, how did you manage to stay so quiet for so long? Oh, now he's gonna explode. Shut up! Wishing the lady you fell in love with every... Okay, with every... Wait a minute. Wishing the lady you fell in love with every happiness is what a real man does! You weren't saying that before, you jackass. I'm pretty sure that relationship was over before it even began, Larry. Not at all. If only I was 10 years younger, things would have gone differently. Hands of time, why won't you turn back for me? Larry, you haven't known her for a week, says Fluffy's boyo. And that park bench is still broken. Are we seriously going to do this on the chapel again? I suppose when you spend that much money to have a flying chapel leg, you should use it. Today is Ellen and Soren's third wedding ceremony and reception. That's weird to think about. I heard the bride and groom insisted on it being on the flying chapel again. In the end, they were nice enough to invite me and Maya. And Athena kind of invited herself. They also invited Edgeworth, Emma, and even Larry. Oh, why? They say third time's the charm, right? I really do hope it's happily ever after for them this time around. Still, I get the feeling it's going to be one rowdy party. Did the bench ever get explained? Yeah. It explained a whole lot.
Ready when
Oh,
you are.
hold on a second. Cutscene.
Okay.
Who's gonna catch the bouquet? I hope it doesn't somehow hit Larry.
Huh?
Who's gonna win? Oh no! No!
Oh, hey! Look who's next!
Wait, that's not even close to my voice that I give him. No. Oh my god. You will never know true love. Hand the bouquet over. Oh dear. Oh shoot.
I'm truly blessed to have you.
Oh, how freaking sweet. And that is the end of the Phoenix Wright DLC. Do we get any kind of credits after that? Or is it, like, literally just the end of it? Saving data. Did I unlock some random hidden thing? Probably not. Let me see. I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at the DLC one more time just to... I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh, but yeah, like Funny Stuff says, this was the last Ace Attorney game that has been released, and it's probably going to be a while till we see the next one. And I think now would be a really good time to give my final thoughts on this entire thing. I've been playing the Ace Attorney games for so freaking long. Like, this, I knew starting out, like, right from the start, I knew that this was going to be a hell of a trick. A ridiculous one. And it has been very fulfilling, that's for certain. It's been a heck of a lot of a cathartic thing, considering, like, I get to yell into a microphone. It's so much fun. And I love all of these characters, and just seeing them grow from, you know, where they originally started to where they are now, and it's been interesting how many things are technically canon. It's strange, it's cartoony, it's ridiculous, and it's the kind of thing that I actually really like in games. You know, it's like there's a real good sense of humor, and also there's a lot of passion and drive behind it as well. Like there's so much tension, so much drama, and I know for a fact that there are some people that they look at something like this and go, yeah, this is lopsided and Looney Tunes. What the hell's happening? But I freaking love it. I love like every second of it. Even the parts that are frustrating, even the parts that are just so out there that I like just sit back and go, no, bullshit. I can't honestly look at this and say that I would hate it in any way. I love this series, and god damn, I really hope that the new one comes out sometime soon. Like, this one came out in 2016. We're 4 years due. I know that some have been released over in Japan, but at the same time, like, we haven't had like a regular installment get released in the West at all. I really want to see another one. So yeah, I know that there's a lot of other Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games out there for me to play, but very likely I'm going to be, putting pretty much this is going to be bookended for now, and I'm going to be retiring the Ace Attorney series. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but here we are. We're pretty much done. Dragon Rose says, what about the Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton crossover? I played it. I already played that. To give people the info, I've given the original trilogy a look. I've taken a look at the new trilogy on the 3DS. I've taken a look at the Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney investigation stuff. Both the games, including the one that was not released in the West. Yeah, I've done a lot, man. And now the only question is, what next? I know that I gotta fill this void with something, but I'm not 100% certain just yet. I got a couple of very specific things that are lined up. But I'm gonna let you guys know right now. I've been complaining a lot about the fact that I don't really have a position or a spot open to play a lot of games that I really want to get to. FBay is saying play Professor Layton. One day, absolutely. That's on the docket, but I don't actually own any of the Professor Layton games as of late, or like right now, so I have to go and get them first. There is one series in particular that I know you guys would be jazzed to watch me play. I have all of the installments of it. I have all of them installed on my computer. But the... again, I've got so many other things going on at the moment that I would like to maybe get to some other games first. You know, like, let's talk about some of the ridiculous other games that I currently have on my list here. Like, I got Hollow Knight that I want to be playing. I got Spyro that I want to be playing. I got, what other games? I got a few other... Let me bring up my Steam, library, because I actually have a special playlist of all the games that I'm currently... Oh, yeah, as well as I got a couple of games that I kind of put to the side that I wanted to try and play at one point. Like, Hypnospace Outlaw. I want to go back and check that out, because apparently they've updated it since I saw it. Let's see, what other things? Okay, and then there's a few things I have not yet played that I don't really want to spoil for you just yet. As well as a game that I made the promise that I'm going to be starting. And let me tell you, I'm not going to be able to consistently play that until we have a spot open. So, likely... next Saturday, I'm likely going to be playing this one particular thing that I've been promising for a very long time. I think it's going to be the start of a very exciting, like, perhaps a new branch of streaming, frankly, because I've always wanted to get into the I've always wanted to get into the scene of it, and I've never really had the opportunity, mostly because I've always been worried that Nintendo would be content IDing the ever-loving hell out of me. So, yeah, there's your hint for it. Oh, Shadow is here. Missed it. How was it? Oh, the ending was so amazing. It was so wholesome as all hell. But like I said, unfortunately, this is pretty much the end of the Ace Attorney series until I either play the Japanese versions or we get a new version. What was the hint? I didn't catch it. Nintendo would content ID me in the event that I decided to play this game. But now that they've backed off, I made a promise that I would play it. And I am going to keep that promise. But until then, I think it's time for us to bookend this entire series here. So, thank you everybody for coming out and watching the Ace Attorney series. Like I said, it was an amazing ride, and I wouldn't... Like, as much as I probably made some, like, flubs and some mistakes here and there, I really don't think I would change it, at all. Like, for better or for worse. If you want to take a look at this after it's done, I'm going to be taking this and uploading it to the YouTube channel. Though, I'm going to warn everybody in advance. I'm still working, like, the backlog's almost completely done with, but I just recently got hit with a whole bunch of extra work on the back end, so I don't want it to get backed up again, but it might. So I'm just going to give you a heads up with that. So, my stream schedule. Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday, all of them starting at around 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Like I said, Saturday we'll now have to find a new game to, call it its home. And we've got a lot of other things that are currently on the line for things. As for tomorrow, I'm not sure what I really want to play, because yesterday, or like the last time we streamed stuff, we played Hollow Knight, and I don't really want to do that, like, so close from, like, the last time that we played it. But I got some stuff that I'm looking at that is kind of exciting. I'll think of something. I don't know, I got an entire day. I got 24 hours. All right, man. To Fluffy says Spyro. You know, that's not a bad idea. I might actually do Spyro. Oh, man. I'm having the whole... I really don't want it to end, but it looks like we're gonna have to. Right, let me just do it. Let's go ahead and pull the Band-Aid, why don't we? Again, thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. See you next time.